welcome. So we're talking about the unexpected when buying FedEx runs. So we have Jim with us, and as always, we have Rick with us today. So Jim, welcome. Glad to have you with us.
Hey, Jim.
We're going to talk about your experience as a FedEx contractor, and to give a bit of background, and Jim, correct me wherever I'm wrong here, but you started as a P&D home delivery, that side of FedEx, saw an opportunity to grow within FedEx Linehaul. You went out, you found a deal, you bought a run, or maybe a couple runs, and then due to some unexpected and really unfortunate circumstances, it didn't quite work out. Had to take a step back, reassess the approach with Linehaul and how you're going to grow with FedEx. And so we're just going to talk about what happened, hopefully share some lessons. And I think this will be important for a lot of people, probably more than one might think that have been in a similar position. It'll really resonate with them and help those coming into the space and even those that are already in it. So that brief intro, I think the best place to start really is just to turn it over to you and ask you to tell us your story. Talk about maybe how you started with FedEx and then what happened when you went into Linehaul.
Okay, so I started out, I'm a chemical engineer by trade, worked in the pulp and paper industry, chemical industry for a long time, decided I had enough of that, and then been looking at buying business for a couple of years, and a FedEx opportunity came up on the P&D side. I bought that back in September of 2019 or something like that.
What got you into Linehaul? Like, how did you first hear about it?
P&D, I saw an ad on buybizsell.com in the Baton Rouge
That's where we
area,
all get into it.
right? So it was in the Baton Rouge area. I bought a group of 6 routes from a guy. I'm actually really good friends with him still, and he's kind of mentored me through that process. And then I bought another group of routes mid 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. I mean, right in the middle of it, and business obviously on the P&D side was craziness, did that for a while, and then kind of got burned out on the P&D side of it. But there was a P&D contractor in the terminal that actually did Linehaul. So I've been talking to him off and on for about a year and a half or so. And he said he was thinking about getting out. So I said, okay, if you ever decide to sell, give me a call. So he decided to sell. I had sold most of my in fact, all of my P&D operations. And stupid me, bought another P&D operation. So I bought another one. And then I think we're closing a deal on May of this year for Linehaul. And originally it was one team run, one solo run, and a bunch of spots in the Baton Rouge area. Okay. None of those runs were assigned runs. They were all unassigned. Okay. And, being a naive contractor, I said, okay, it's good money. It was about $1 million revenue deal. Of course, the team run was the bulk of that, right? So, and then, probably 3 or 4 or 5 weeks before we closed the deal, it got eliminated. And it was like a 6-day-a-week run that was doing 5,500 miles a week. So it was a really nice little run.
And you were under the assumption that it was a dedicated assigned run doing the same thing every week.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's sort of my mistake from a naivety standpoint. So, in the other part, that a lot of these deals on the P&D side, what I normally do is, and it's probably not the best thing to do, but I end up paying ahead of time and then taking over the business before, it's finally closed. That's probably not the greatest idea to do on earth, but I've had good luck with it in the past on the other one. So I really didn't worry about it. And then this happened, so took a step back, and then they had a couple of things come up on the build of ground biz where they had unassigned runs. So I started applying for those pretty regularly to try to get some runs. And then I was awarded some out of Memphis, unassigned runs out of Memphis. And that's kind of how I built the business since then. Yeah, it was extremely discouraging, to lose that. Of course, you got notes and all of that stuff that goes with it. And I always tell people I wasn't eating cat food, so I was okay, but it was still pretty discouraging. However, in the Linehaul space, there's a lot less moving parts and pieces than P&D. P&D is a difficult business, and it's a difficult margin business. Now you can make money, but you got to really run a really tight ship. not the saying in Linehaul you should do the same thing. Just the margins, if you mess up, and then they got so much other stuff, people delivering a box to the wrong place or not getting signatures and all kind of other stuff that goes with it. That's difficult.
Okay. I gotta backtrack. And I just want to be clear, because this is something I think near and dear to my heart. When you bought, you went under contract on a business, you paid for it, and you bought a run that was supposed to be assigned, but it was actually unassigned. He had just been doing the same thing for an extended period of time. Did you ever, and we say, show me the A1. Did you ever have the opportunity to look at the schedule and see that the run was actually assigned?
So Rick, I'll tell you, I actually contracted a consultant to go through that with me. Okay. And the first time I knew about it was when they brought it to my attention that it was unassigned.
Okay.
But by that time, I already had paid money up front. Okay, the entire amount. So that was my big mistake. Okay, paying the money up front like that. So yes, they told me, and I guess I was caught off guard when they told me that that it was unassigned, and I guess I didn't understand. Well, maybe I didn't do enough research to understand what that meant. I guess the proper way to say it.
And Jim, can I ask, did you look at like their statements and just see what those runs are doing?
Yes.
For that? Okay. So you saw statements and you felt pretty confident they were going to keep doing those. And then obviously you looked at the A1, then you found out.
Right. And I asked the owner that specific question. I asked him, I said, how often y'all running it? Do you feel like it's a run that's going to be there for a while? And he said, yes. And I really, so the solo run I bought from is unassigned too, but he's been running it for like 11 years, so as unassigned, so it's kind of crazy, that's the case.
How they,
I'm much smarter now about it. It's a learning experience that cost me some money, but in the end, I like the line haul business. My son's doing a great job with it, and it is a business I think is worthy to stay in. I do.
And when you were doing the deal, did you already recruit? Was that already lined up?
Yes, I did. And I did talk with the owner, and we did sit down and decide when we looked at who was available, what drivers were there and stuff, which ones we thought there'd be a possibility they stay and there'd be a possibility they leave, and I made myself some contingency plans around that. So, in all actuality, to this day, we've only lost one driver in that situation.
Oh, wow. It's a big credit to you.
We did a few things, we offer health benefits, we offer 401k, we give them little goodie bags when they start with us, they get bonuses, and stuff like that. So I think I don't know if that's the end game, but I kept on telling my son, we got to find a way to differentiate ourselves from a recruiting standpoint so we can build a business and not have a high driver turnover,
And it sounds like not only from a recruiting standpoint, but you're obviously doing much better than not only industry average, but FedEx average when it comes to turnover and retention on drivers, only losing one guy. Congrats.
Thank you. And I think we seem to be doing pretty good on the team side, which is difficult. Now, the one thing I will tell you, Rick, is that I learned this in the P&D space, that we try to stay away from what we call retreads, people coming from other contractors or, because very rarely have we gotten one that stays. Very rarely. Every once in a while you will, but we try to stay away from them the best we can because they don't seem to stay. They left for a reason.
And Jim,
so yep, we call them hitmen up where we are, and it's the one, the guys who know the system very well and are looking to just max out their pay per mile and always looking to get a little more. And hey, I'm here. And they'll probably do you a good service. They're good drivers. But the next opportunity comes along and they're going to move on to the next one. And for us, we've never been able to keep them. those really expert FedEx drivers that are looking to, always looking for the highest dollar amount, because there's always going to be someone that's willing to pay more than you on these runs.
Yeah.
And are you mostly using a recruiter, or do you guys do this
No, I
yourselves?
work with a recruiter. I use Bright Flag for my recruiting.
Okay.
And Crystal,
No
and
more.
Crystal is our main contact. I know Tony, and we've met a couple times, but Crystal's our main contact on a line haul side, and we do use them on the P&D side too. So that helps, to go to a kind of a one-stop shop. So
And Jim, you touched on this a bit, but I think this is pretty important. Can you talk about what the emotional roller coaster was like, kind of finding out, you're under contract, and then 4 to 5 weeks before closing, you just kind of find out, hey, this is no longer a thing. What was going through your minds?
besides freaking out, Christian, besides freaking out, yeah, it was a freak out. It was a freak out moment, no doubt about it. My son and I took a step back and said, okay, the P&D operation has been running well. We have a good amount of living expenses coming in, so we were okay. And then we made ourselves a plan. How are we gonna fix this situation? Okay. So Taylor actually went up there and met with John Walden and John Wallace and Nick in the Memphis Olive Branch area. Met him personally, talked to him, figured out what's coming on, and we made ourselves a plan around that. And I think we've done pretty successful. We've grown the business from originally $1 million to now we're about a $3 million revenue business in a span of about 4 months, something like that. So we had to take some risks. We got a couple wild runs and stuff like that, but we actually got some pretty good, I would call them semi-dedicated runs, that they gave us that helped out a lot. And now I'm thinking we're coming out of that dark tunnel. Now it was scary, because, the line haul business, there's a lot more money moving around than in a P&D business, and I really didn't. I had a couple contractors, actually one in particular that kind of talked me through all of that, and I talked to him before, and he helped me kind of navigate that and told me to be okay. Yeah, you got burned a little bit, but there's so much opportunity out there, it'll be okay,
For sure. And that's so important. It's the whole reason why we're doing this is just to have a group of contractors be like, hey, if you have an
Right.
issue, you have someone you can talk to, or just talk through it. eh, I'm a bit frustrated for you. I mean, that's like, oh, wow, that's pretty significant that happened. But you don't seem to be like, you have a plan together. Or let me ask you this first. When you went to the management team, at the hub, what was their demeanor like?
They, in relation to to losing a run or relation to just the general demeanor.
So I guess let's go with losing the run first. I'm curious what
Yeah,
their reaction
and so
was.
John Walden, who is the senior line haul manager out of Memphis, that was the way that run was coming out of. He was very helpful,
Mhm.
very helpful. So he said,
Okay.
we're going to work out something to find some replacements for you. So yeah, and
Good
he
guy.
said there's some URRs coming up. Make sure you sign up for those, and you'll get a couple. And seriously, during the limb meeting, he said, yeah, we'll give you 5 of them. So they gave me 5 of them during the limb meeting.
Wow.
After that, it was, it's pretty much where we are now. We're running 4 of those right now, and so it's a really good deal. And I got a dedicated solo run out of Olive Branch, that solo that goes to Johnson City and back. So we've done pretty good. We really have, and it was encouraging to. I don't want, FedEx has got a business to run. I know that, they, and we're their contractors, but, there's so much opportunity that they wanted to see some new blood in the system. So I think that helped too, you know. Yeah, me and Taylor being pretty
That's great.
aggressive,
Yeah.
and we run a really, and I hate to keep on saying this, but our P&D operation just, it's really a first-class operation. I got a great manager, and she does a great job. Same thing on the line haul. I got a great manager, and I think the combination of all that, and I just wanted to make sure we're top notch in safety and top notch in service, and hopefully that'll pay out for us.
For sure.
Can I ask, for our clients who come to me and they say, hey, you know, I want to get into FedEx, and you know, I'm looking at these P&D runs, but I'm looking at these line haul runs. What's your advice? If they have to choose one, what advice would you give them as someone who's
Yeah,
doing
I
both? Very
wouldn't, my
familiar with both.
particular thing right now, the line haul space is where you should be. I really do believe that. It is a little more scary than P&D because there's so much more money involved. When you go buy a truck, it's, you know, $180,000, $190,000 now. You know, used trucks are just stupid, crazy expensive.
Mhm.
You know, so all of that stuff's crazy. But I still think if you can get yourself in, you know, you need at least two runs to get in, right? So it's a way to get in,
Mhm.
kind of learn the FedEx business. Obviously, they're completely different, but FedEx is FedEx. There's a lot of similarities between line haul and, you know, P&D. And P&D is that there's, like I was telling you before, Rick, there's so many more moving parts and pieces. There's just so much more stuff. You know, you got on the
Mhm.
line haul side, you got no touch freight. Guys just got to hook up. And I'll tell you one story about my driver. So Larry Fontaine, he's been a driver for me for the business, you know, for 5 years. So he was with the other contractor, great driver. And I just bought the business, and the contractor asked me, well, can you come help on the line on the P&D side? And Larry says, I only touch the steering wheel. I don't touch boxes. So, you know, I only touch the steering wheel, you know, so that's kind of the mentality. And I can agree with that, so, you know, you got every place you deliver on the P&Z side seems like they got a camera. You know, you go, they watching you as you deliver your box. Now you got to take pictures of every box, so it is a lot more stuff, line haul. I think that's me and my son's future. I think so, the way we're going right now.
That's really refreshing to hear because, 2 weeks ago, the CEO of FedEx came out, kind of gave an announcement and reset expectations for, lower volume. And I think, Rick and I have been having a lot of conversations around this. And we say to everyone, we're going to look back as this as an opportunity to kind of really get in, because you look at the e-commerce space, the retailer space, I mean, these are growing, right? Outside competition, aside, we really believe in growing in FedEx and want to help people do that. So what are your thoughts on kind of what the announcement was and where FedEx is now and going?
I've actually looked on it. Yeah, it's a bad situation from FedEx. It is. But I do think it's an eye opener for them too, to decide they're going to be in this for a long haul. They're not going anywhere. But I do think there's a rap on the head to say, y'all need to wake up. Y'all need to fix kind of the inefficiencies in your operation. They're asking us to fix those every day, right? So I think they need to, whether they have too many people on the top end, or they're not paying attention to contractors, or they got planes flying
Third
out,
party carriers,
huh? Or
third party
third
carriers,
party
stay the hell
carriers.
out of our hubs.
Right. They got the same thing. So same thing on the P&D side, Rick. So they got these contingency people that come in. I don't blame them, but these guys make a ton of money, a lot more money than the P&D contractors do. They need to fix that. Either if you want to pay the contractors more and get rid of the contingency guys, you'll save money. And I'll give you a particular example. In our terminal, there's a pretty tough zip code to run. Okay. They had a contractor in that position for almost a year, and they paid that person $2.5 million. It's a 1.2, $1.1 million contract if it was run right. So they paid them double, so things like that need to be looked at, I think so.
2x on it. Oh, God. Okay. And are they running? So my understanding is that, the Schedule J is really a precursor to taking care of us in that sense. Have you had any Schedule J opportunities down there on the P&D side? Is that even a thing yet?
Yes. When you talk about Schedule J, you're talking about the safety portion, Schedule J.
I'm talking about them paying you to be available even if you're not running on the
Yeah.
P&D side?
Yeah, so they haven't approached me in particular, and I pretty much tried to stay away from that. And the
Okay.
reason for that is this, is that when you're on the schedule, they call it a dedicated contingency contractor, or DCC, that's what they call it. They pretty much can tell you to go wherever. Atlanta, Houston, whatever, okay? And I don't think want to do that.
Okay.
Now you can make money, you can make really good money doing it,
Yep.
you know, but I'm not ready to do that because I want to focus my stuff on line haul and my P&D operation. The only thing I'll probably end up doing on the P&D side is if there's opportunities for me to buy a business and kind of fix it up and then sell it, to flip it kind of thing, I may do that, but that's pretty much it, you know.
Awesome, man. I said, I've been very impressed with you since the moment we started talking. To get hit, you know, the way that you did, which is just a gut punch, but to turn around and just really exceed, you know, to build something even more valuable than what you would have had. Fantastic. I love hearing those stories, man. I'm very impressed with you. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I love the business. I love the business. I love being a FedEx contractor, and not necessarily, you know, FedEx itself, that's part of it. But being a business owner is just the greatest thing on earth, really. You know, you provide these jobs for all these people. I have, you know, I enjoy that part of it. Icing on the cake, my son gets to work with me, and my son's doing a fantastic job. All of that stuff's great. If it affords me the kind of living that I wanted to be. You know, I don't want to be completely retired, but I want to still be involved in stuff. So that helps me there. And I always like these new challenges. It kind of stimulates my brain cells, make new brain cells grow, right? I'm getting old, they're dying faster than they're growing, but I need to keep it going. So that helps. So, you know, I enjoy the business, you know, I do, you know, and I'm a metrics guy, you know, I love metrics. So, you know, look at how many packages the guys are delivering, how many miles we're driving, how much you know, miles per gallon we get, all of that stuff, you know, being an engineer, you know, I like all of that stuff. So
Do you pull all that yourself, or do you use any like third-party systems?
right now, I put on the P&D side, I pull all my data myself. I set up
Mhm.
macros and it all does it automatically. I'm still kind of working my way through the line haul side right now. Now, Hal Detect does most of my stuff right now. So I load it in there.
Yep.
They give me all the stuff, you know. Maybe one day I'll develop something, you know, but for now, you know, that's who does all my stuff. So you know, if I'm missing a leg or missing a dropping hook or a fuel or something like that, I use it to do it. And only thing I'm trying to figure out is how to weave my OmniTracks more into that so I can figure out a little bit more on it. But that's part of it.
Yeah, it's very helpful.
Awesome, man. Jim, thank you for your time. Christian, do you have anything else you want to add in?
I think, I mean, Jim, this is really helpful. I mean,
Yeah.
you're really impressive. And just to hear
Extreme.
what you went through and your positive outlook, I think it's very helpful. Would you have any like last words of wisdom for any new contractors coming in?
Yeah, that's what I'll tell you. Okay, there'll be gut punches coming along, and there'll be stuff coming along, and you'll have a bad day, but the sun will come up tomorrow, just like the song goes, and it'll be better. It will be. Now there may be a couple days in a row that'll be bad, right? You know, but it's, you know, if you set your business up right and do stuff like that, I think there's always opportunity. And the greatest thing about FedEx, you know what the greatest thing about FedEx is? Every freaking Friday you get a check. Every Friday. And you ain't got to hunt down invoices. You ain't got to hunt down customers to pay their bills. They pay you every Friday. So every Friday is a good day for me. So that's how I look at it.
That's huge.
Love it. Fantastic.
Sure. So, Jim, thank you again. This has been really helpful. For anyone who wants to find you, maybe potential drivers, or anyone that wants to find information about you, where can they go?
I'm Casjam Express out of Baton Rouge Terminal, Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Awesome. We'll put that in the comments for sure.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jim. This has been amazing. Very helpful.
Y'all have a great day.
You too,
Have a
Jim.
great one, man.
Thank
Talk to
you.
you soon.
Thanks, bud.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.